In less than 24 hours, the video game Grand Theft Auto 5 has sold nearly 7 million copies and earned more than $400 million.
Wow. Well, here to explain the significance of this game and how it became a global phenomenon is Fan Bros tech blogger Tatiana King-Jones and DJ Ben Hameen.
Hey, how you doing?
Hey, welcome, welcome.
First of all, Tatiana, I do not believe that you're a video game nerd. I mean, you look like a supermodel. Come on.
Right.
Thank you. I've been playing since I was 5 years old.
Wow.
I don't believe it.
Thank my grandma for that.
Okay.
All right, Grandma. She got you hooked.
Yeah.
Okay, so you've been playing since you were 5, but for those that have no idea about Grand Theft Auto and all the video game hype that's surrounding this, tell us why this is such a big deal and why the release of this game was so highly anticipated.
Well, you want to start? Ben?
You got it.
You got it?
Yeah.
Well, Grand Theft Auto has actually been out for many, many years.
17 years.
Right.
Yeah. So a lot of people don't know that it does have a long history. The last major Grand Theft Auto game to come out has actually been 5 years ago. About 5 years ago, five and a half years ago. So this anticipation of just the long wait for it. With every new game, there's always new features, new characters, new things to do, and it's a big deal.
But come on. I mean, people stood in line like this was a concert. They stood in line for hours. One guy in London even mugged and stabbed a guy for his copy of the game. I mean, is it worth losing a life on? Come on.
I don't think it is. I don't think anything like that of that nature is. But it is a popular game, and a lot of people are into it.
I think that's also a bit of hype too, though. Like that people are getting stabbed over the game. I think he might have just gotten stabbed, and then or mugged, and then the game was a bonus. Like he probably just wanted his wallet, and then you got the game along with it. So.
Yeah.
Okay, well, speaking of losing your life, we have to talk about the violence in the game.
Yeah.
The developers, Rockstar, have been criticized for everything from encouraging violence to encouraging the degradation of women.
Women, misogyny.
Yeah. All of the above. So what is the appeal of this game? Because you get to kill hookers and blow up cars with rocket launchers, and you get to be an outlaw. Is that the appeal?
I think that's more of a minor part of it, though. I think the appeal of the game...
It's a major part of it.
Well, I mean, the game is Grand Theft Auto, and you are a criminal in it. But at the same time, I think the appeal of the game is more that you get to live out a fantasy in this world. It's just like when you watch Scarface or Casino. You root for Robert De Niro, even though he's doing all type of criminal acts in the movie.
Good point.
It's an open world game, so you get to really go anywhere, do whatever you want. I mean, it's a huge, expansive game. And even from the last time that it was out, I mean, it's so much you can do with it. You can literally do whatever you want.
So these games actually have plot lines now.
Yeah.
So what is the plot of this game? What's the storyline here?
This is the movie we're watching. It actually opens with a little mini movie.
Yeah, and then they have many movies throughout the game to move the plot along. And the plot of this one is there's 3 main characters, and their storylines intersperse, but they're not directly related. And each character has his own storyline. So this game is the first one where they have 3 main characters instead of just 1 main character and 1 main plot.
Okay.
Yeah. And they're
So
all
what's
playable.
the plot? What's the whole point of this game?
I haven't
To create havoc?
Some of it is. It's not the only thing you can do. Like I said, this is a game where, and GTA has always been like this, where GTA you can do main missions and then you can just pretty much walk around and do whatever you want. I know Ben Ami and I had a discussion where the first thing he did was got in a car, turned on the radio, and drove around the city.
And just drove around listening to the radio.
Now, that has nothing to do with violence. He just thought it was something fun to do. So I mean, it's very similar how people, also interact with this game.
Okay, so what's so different about this version of the game from the one that came out 5 years ago if they're all about just robbing and stealing? It seems like it's the same plot.
Well, there's different storylines. Like there's a Grand Theft Auto Vice City, which took place in the 80s. And in the 80s, it was more like a Scarface movie type storyline where you were coming up and becoming a big-time dealer, drug kingpin in the 80s, like Scarface. While then there was the Grand Theft Auto 4 was in New York City, and that took place in like the 2000s. And while this one is now back in California, and it takes place in current time, with, like I said before, 3 different stories. So it's like 3 different movies all taking place at once.
Now, by March of 2014, analysts predict that this game will have generated more than $1 billion in sales. Who is buying these games? I mean, it's just not teenagers. You don't make that sort of money if it's just kids buying these games.
No, everyone. Adults, teenagers, people who probably shouldn't be buying the game, who are younger than teenagers, getting their parents to buy it for them. But yeah, it's a game that goes across generations. It's definitely not just teenagers buying this game. I mean, I'm not a teenager and I bought it, so.
You're not a teenager.
No, I
You look so young.
Thank you, I tried.
Well, you know, you bring up a good point about people who shouldn't be buying it, and you talked about earlier people living out fantasies in this film. But some critics argue that it actually encourages violent behavior in real life, that people are carrying out crimes because they learn about it, and it desensitizes people to violence because they're doing it every day in this video game. And others even say that tragedies like the Columbine, Sandy Hook, and the Aurora shootings would not have even happened if it hadn't been for video games like this.
You know, this is something that I actually talk a lot with people. There really is there's no proven causal relationship between violence in video games and violence in real life. And you have to also understand it's more than just you playing a video game. It's about your whole environment. It's about who you live with. It's about where you grow up. It's about how you've grown up. And it's about your mental faculties. If you are off your rocker, you're going to be off your rocker regardless. So the issue with GTA saying that, oh, that causes people to shoot up a school, something like that, that's ridiculous. I mean, it really isn't true.
And there's
How do you
even,
feel about that?
I feel pretty much the same way. There's even studies shown, like they said that in 2008, I think a study was shown that 67% of juvenile youth crime had fallen in like the last 5 years, while violent sales of video games or violent video games had quadrupled in the last 5 years.
And
So.
if anything else, the video games have become more violent.
Yeah, they become more,
more
visual,
realistic.
more realistic. You
Yeah.
can see everything a lot more. So it's not a direct correlation at all. If the games are selling more and then violence and arrest rates are dropping amongst juveniles, then it doesn't make sense that one is causing the other.
But let me ask you both this. Why do these games have to be so violent? Would they not be as interesting if not for the killings and the shootings and the...
I think it's just different games for different purposes. It's like you go to see an action movie versus you go to see a love story. And then I think another thing about it is video games are still in their infancy, the business and the creation of them. So it's not like there have been a lot of great games developed where there's a love story video game. Or, you know, it's easier to tell an action movie than it is to tell a good love story. So that's just why the games have gravitated toward that. But as the gaming industry grows, I think you'll see more. Because even in Grand Theft Auto, its focus is on the story more so than the shooting and robbing that comes along with it.
But you still can't have the story without all the
Oh,
shooting.
I mean, you got to have some shooting and
That's
robbing.
how you get your points. You got
At least for GTA. At least for GTA.
It's called Grand Theft Auto.
Yeah.
That's true.
Whatever happened to Mario Brothers? You know, that was our violent. That was our violent game.
you just
we hit the
bumped somebody
turtle.
on the head.
I mean, you were still,
That's it.
walking
Still
some
violent?
mushrooms.
It's still, I mean, if that's your, definition of violence, then hey, Mario Brothers is violent. You could say Tetris is violent. I mean, to me, you have to, I mean, to me, you can't.
Pac-Man, he just ate some ghosts. I mean,
Yeah,
come on.
like,
That's pretty violent to the ghost.
I mean,
That's violent to the ghost.
I mean, it's kind of silly when you think about it, but I mean, I want to also make a point that it's not just violent video games that are very popular. I mean, you have even the most casual games. Think of Candy Crush. Everyone plays that game. You know, you have, and you mentioned Mario Brothers. Everyone can play that game of every age, every race, anything. So
Angry Birds is also very
Angry
popular.
Birds.
You know,
Yeah.
and like again, if you want to use a very strict definition of violence, Angry Birds is violence. But I mean, I think at some
Angry
point,
Birds is not the
but
same as
that's my
a
point.
train being destroyed or a
my
grenade being
my
thrown
point-
at somebody. Come on.
My point is that I think people have a too narrow view on what a violent video game really is, and unfortunately they kind of blanket all games as like that. So I think it really depends on who you talk to.
Let's talk about the visual experience. Now, the New York Times calls it, quote, the most immersive spectacle in interactive entertainment. Is that hyperbole, or do you agree?
No, I don't think it's hyperbole. I mean, it's like when you're at this level, the technology, the graphics, the sound, everything, it's like watching a big budget motion picture, but even more so, you're involved in creating the big budget motion picture. So it's a very immersive experience. You know, like we were saying, you can get in the car, you can turn on the radio, you can choose what station you're driving to. You know, you can choose what car you want to do. You can go get a haircut for your character, change his clothes. There's just levels upon levels to this game. So yeah, I definitely would agree with them on that.
I would say that that's one of the things that has evolved in the last 17 years. Would you agree? Just
Absolutely.
the animation and how real it looks.
Oh yeah, it's amazing. Like even Grand Theft Auto's a different type, but when you're playing a game like NBA basketball simulator, when you watch them now, you can sit and watch it as if you're watching a real NBA game. It's almost that close.
And that's due to advances in software, due to advances in hardware. I mean, it's a bunch of things that make it look much more real and much realistic. GTA still kind of have a cartoony feel to it almost, just a little bit.
A little bit.
Just a little bit, but yeah, it is kind of real world violence in there.
Definitely.
Yeah.
It's. I mean, I wouldn't, like I say, the game is rated mature for a reason, and I would not recommend it to anyone
Under the age
under
of
the
what?
age of
17. I mean, the label says 17.
Who's the
Label
label
says
mature?
17.
Okay.
Yeah.
The label says
17.
a mature
17.
15-year-old. Okay.
A mature
Okay.
15-year-old.
Yeah, I would put. That's about as far as I'd want to go with it.
Now let's talk about how addictive these games can be. Have you ever crawled into a GTA hole and just never come out for about 3 or 4 days?
Yeah.
You're guilty
Gotta
of
get to the
that.
next level.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah, with the San Andreas game, that was out a few years ago. Like, that was something where I was kind of stuck on that game, and I was gone for a week, and everyone's like, "Where are you?" I'm like, "I'm playing this game."
Wow.
Yeah.
But it's like also like with a good book that you get. You know, when you get a good book, you want to read it till you get to the ending and find out what happens to these characters. So the same thing happens in the game where you just want to find out what's going to happen. And unfortunately, that might take another day of you playing it.
Another day.
Or two.
Or two.
Or three.
Or 3 or
Weeks.
4. Now, you
Yeah.
just started playing the game last night.
Last night.
And you purchased it for how much?
It was $60.
$60.
total. Yeah.
Wow. So is it worth every penny?
Yeah, I'd say so.
Really?
Because it's something that you're going to play for at least, even if you just play straight through to get to the ending, it's going to take you about 2 weeks. And then if you really just want to play around with it, you can play it for months upon months. So.
I mean, the game is huge. For people who play video games, it's Red Dead Redemption and the other GTA combined as far as the size of the game.
Okay.
It's literally no invisible wall, whereas with Mario, there was like a point where you can't go anywhere. This game, you just can go on and on and on, literally for hours.
Okay, so what would you rate the game on a scale of 1 to 5, 5 being the best? It's like,
So far, I'd give it a 4.5.
I was gonna say 4.
wow.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, so far, definitely.
But you've just started,
And
so
I
you
just
have
started,
no
and I have no
idea.
idea how good. It really depends on how the story plays out. You know how involved it really gets you. But so far, like I played for 30 minutes, and I definitely want to play more.
All right. Well, we'll give you a call in, 3 weeks?
Yeah.
You'll be able to tell us more.
That's when you'll come
Maybe
up for
4. I'm
air?
a little slow.
Okay, so we'll call you in 4 weeks, and we'll see if
Definitely.
the rating's gone up.
All right.
All
Yeah.
right. Well, take care.
And now we
Thank
want to
you.
know what everybody at home thinks about this game. Do you love it? Do you hate it? Is it too violent for you? Tweet us about it at Arise TV 360.